The movie starts on a Halloween night in the Statesville Mental Hospital. A mysterious woman in red heels and a black coat approaches the front door of the facility and presses the buzzer. The guard on watch informs her that it is a little too late for them to accept any visitors. She apologizes for her timing and mentions that she was supposed to meet Warden Kane hours ago, but is late due to traffic. After an inappropriate remark from the guard, Warden Kane takes over the intercom and requests for the lady to come in. The mysterious woman, Ms. Quinn, is in fact a journalist. She has come to report on the recent events that have taken place at Statesville. The warden is concerned with the reputation of the facility and wants everything about the interview to be by the book. He warns Quinn about the place though, as he claims that they house people who even God is afraid of. Statesville is unknown to most, not visited by many except for some Satan-worshipping teenagers. Out of curiosity, Quinn asks the warden why they have kept the facility a secret. To that, he responds that while many care organizations for the criminally insane exist out there, the patients in his are not that simple. He refers to them as domestic terrorists, and as far as he is concerned, they deserve no human rights. Kane compares Statesville inmates to Dahmer, Bundy, and Gacy. The only difference, he says, is that while the latter got all the press, it is the former that horror stories are based on. If he did not have the state officers meddling in his work, he would have happily killed each and every patient he housed. Kane leads the way to the Supermax. He introduces Quinn to Jeffrey Ramses, aka Animal the Cannibal, a once renowned chef whose flank steak was to die for. The man used to serve his customers the meat of his other customers. Finger sausages, anyone? Not wanting to risk the reputation of their restaurant chain, the board of directors hushed the matter up and made the animal disappear into the dark. The next inmate is Bradford Young, the handsome, dashing, and suave dentist. The ladies loved him, but then the men, not so much. After a failed attempt from Dr. Suave to woo Ms. Quinn, Kane moves on to the next patient, Walter Harris, the taxidermist who claimed to specialize in birds, but had his eyes on dead women instead. Moving forward, Ms. Quinn is acquainted with Rocco the Clown, a big guy who killed 3 guards and almost killed the only doctor the facility had too. He used to be an underground wrestler who liked to kill his opponents in the ring. Last but not least, Quinn is brought to Manuel Dyer, aka Manny the Prophet, aka Mental Manny, a cult leader and faux prophet responsible for the largest mass suicide in history. He brainwashed his followers to burn themselves alive to be able to connect with Jesus Christ. Quinn seems to feel faint, and they decide to leave the Supermax to allow her some time to process everything she just learned. Kane asks her if she thinks it is wise to tell the entire world about the existence of such psychopathic monsters. Quinn argues that they are still humans who deserve rights and a fair trial. She expresses how she feels bad that the warden must deal with such depraved individuals, and in an attempt to ease his agony, kisses him. But, plot twist, Quinn is a psychopath too. She kills Kane, strangling him with metal wire. Her motive for the visit, as it turns out, was to set free the 5 Statesville inmates. After gruesomely murdering 2 more guards, she changes her outfit and reveals her true identity. Ms. Quinn is Mental Manny's daughter and an active serial killer who goes by the name Stitch Face Killer. In the nearby town, the sheriff and her not-so-bright deputy sheriff investigate a gory murder of a girl. After drawing a roadmap of the events that might have taken place, the sheriff asks the deputy to find out more about the victim. We then see a young man, Morgan, pacing around trying to gather the courage to ask out one of his co-workers, Lori, but getting interrupted by his co-workers having sex in the storage closet. The whole group of friends works at a small diner. Since it is Halloween night, they are all dressed in costumes and decide to visit the Halloween Funhouse, which has attractions based on real-life horrifying crimes that have taken place. They decide to ditch their shift at the diner and go to the funhouse in their friend Gerardo's truck. Meanwhile, the 6 escaped maniacs are also headed for the funhouse and are ready to cause havoc. The owner of the place is an ex of the Stitch Face Killer, not that he knows that, of course. She has convinced him to theme the attraction around serial killers, and he has hired actors to play the roles of criminals. It's laughingly easy for the real killers to kill the actors and take their places as themselves. Visitors start rolling into the funhouse, the land of illusions. The serial killers openly start killing people who walk into their attractions, but no one realizes they should be afraid. All the visitors just laugh it off, convinced like it's not real. It is a scene like this Morgan and his friends see when they finally reach the fair and are greeted by the animal playing the role of a security guard. Back at the sheriff's office, Sheriff Kate tries to solve the murder of a girl who she now thinks might have been a victim of the Stitch-Face killer. Deputy Doyle gets what she assumes a prank call about there being a murder at the funhouse. When the friend group reaches the funhouse, Gerardo refuses to come in. Morgan and his friends, Lori, Jason, Christina, Randall, and Mickey, start making their way through the house of the haunted crimes. They see Rocco the Clown kill a faceless man, then Dr. Suave drilling a hole in the mouth of an innocent man crying for help, the taxidermist disassembling a young boy, and the Stitch-Face killer slitting a woman's throat. Despite the brutality and the danger of the spectacle, they safely make it out of the haunted house. All the friends go their own separate ways. Rocco locks the entry to the funhouse to make sure no one can go in and out of the place. The deputy sheriff gets yet another call reporting a murder at the funhouse, this one sounding genuine. However, because he was pranked once before, he doesn't believe the message to be real and hangs up the phone. He puts the receiver aside to avoid any more such fake calls. Back at the fair, Morgan and Lori finally seem to be getting along before being once again interrupted by their friends. Quinn sneaks upon Christina while she is freshening up after having intense sex with Jason in the women's washroom and slashes her face. Morgan and Lori get into a fight, worried about why their friend is taking so long to come out. The group splits up to go and look for Christina. While Christina has put up quite a good fight against Stitch-Face, she couldn't in the end stop Quinn from stabbing her in the throat with a knife. Lori spots Christina's body being dragged into the haunted house. She alerts Morgan and Jason, and together, they run into the tent to save their friend. Met with Christina's body, and before they have a chance to process it, they suddenly see Stitch-Face kill another attendee. Terrified, they bolt out of the haunted house and find Randall and Mickey standing outside. Jason tries to run out of the funhouse, only to find out that they all had been locked in. Randall starts explaining his fear of clowns, only to be killed by Rocco after the ex-wrestler comes out of the house behind them. The four surviving friends run for their life. Mickey trips and falls on the ground, allowing Rocco to catch up to him, smashing his face in with a giant hammer. Jason, Lori, and Morgan reach the electric fence, but are unable to climb it, though Morgan manages to escape under it. Rocco catches Jason and pushes his face into the fence, using the electricity to kill him. Lori, who is still stuck in the funhouse, is terrified by what she has just seen. She runs away and tells Morgan to go get some help. The sheriff and her deputy have gone to Statesville, as Kate got a tip that freelance reporter Jessica Quinn has visited the asylum for a story. Upon reaching the Statesville Mental Hospital, they find a bunch of dead bodies and pools of blood. Kate realizes that this is the work of psychopaths and immediately connects the dots to the murder prank calls about the funhouse. She calls for backup and rushes out of the asylum. While approaching the Macon County Funhouse, Kate and Deputy Doyle run into a very flustered Morgan. Doyle takes a shot at Morgan, injuring his right arm. Morgan tells them what he saw at the funhouse. Gerardo, who has witnessed a lady covered in blood die right in front of him, decides to join Kate, Morgan, and Doyle in saving everyone at the funhouse from the killers. Running frantically through the torturous horror house, Lori finds Dr. Suave pulling out the teeth of a man. She hits Suave with a cylinder, distracting him and allowing her and the man to kill the killer together. Meanwhile, though, the rest of the funhouse attendees are still unaware of the gruesome murders. They are enjoying themselves while listening to Dr. Dave and Senor Bob, famous radio jockeys who are hosting the fair. Even as Mental Manny walks up behind the performers and kills them both in front of a huge crowd of people, they still believe this is all an act. Nothing, not even Manny telling the audience that he and his band of killers have actually been killing people all night, seems to convince them. Sheriff Kate, Doyle, Morgan, and Gerardo watch Mental Manny preach his truth to everyone. Kate gets flashbacks from the mass suicide and is shocked to see Manny alive. Kate, or Catherine, was just a child when she saw Mental Manny burn her mother alive. The killers jump down from the stage and start killing people. There is a huge commotion as the visitors finally start running around to save their lives. Sheriff Kate commands Deputy Doyle, Morgan, and Gerardo to help people get out safely, while she tries to get the maniacs. While escorting people out, Morgan and Doyle get attacked by Rocco, but with some help from Gerardo and Lori, they manage to get away from the clown safely. The four of them run into the taxidermist, who is wheeling his next victim into the lab. Cornered without any weapon to protect him, the taxidermist is shot to death by Deputy Doyle. The four then split up to take down the remaining psychos. Before parting ways, Morgan pulls Lori and gives her a kiss. He tells her that he really wants to go on a third date with her, so they agree to try to not get killed. Morgan and Gerardo follow the animal, while Sheriff Kate points a gun at Mental Manny's head. Manny mentions that he remembers Kate and claims that she will never actually shoot him. To prove him wrong, she shoots him in the foot. As the man is limping and trying to get away, Kate catches up to Manny and calls out to him, asking him to face her. She aims the gun at him and reveals that Mental Manny is in fact her father. She reminds him it's only death and takes a clear shot at his head. The bullet pierces through his skull and kills him instantly. Kate has only a moment to revel in the satisfaction though, before being attacked by Stitchface, her sister. Cut to the kitchen. Morgan and Gerardo are in a fight with the animal. Morgan hits him in the head with a frying pan, and then the two of them pin the cannibal to the sizzling grill, burning off his face. Lori comes just in time to help Kate fight off Stitchface. The sisters stab each other, both of them collapsing, leaving Doyle over the body of his friend and boss. Skip forward a bit. It is the 1st of November now, and a squad of police officers are standing outside the funhouse with their guns loaded. As the four vigilantes walk out of the fair, Morgan is cheery, bragging about the odds of their survival. Just as he says that, Rocco comes out of the gate, breaks Morgan's back, and kills him. Doyle commands the policeman to shoot at Rocco. After the clown is incapacitated, Doyle grabs a gun and blows Rocco's head off. With all the maniacs dead, the police round up all the survivors of the funhouse, and Lori is given medical attention. In the ambulance where Lori is, the paramedic wheels in the unconscious body of Kate, hoping she can still be saved. While driving away from the funhouse, a knife appears from under Kate's sleeve, and the skin of her face starts lifting. Seeing this, Lori lets out a ghastly scream. She knows what, or rather who, is coming for her.